So now a buyer decides they want to get a home inspection. Most buyers that are working with agents will usually have a referral of a home inspector. But let's just say those buyers out there that either one, are not working with an agent, or two, like the interview process as far as something that they want to know who they're hiring. And so they're going to, I've worked with some buyers that are like, do you have any good home inspectors that you would recommend? I said yes. I said, but however, if you have somebody that you want to use, you don't have to use who I use. At which point they said, well, we just kind of want to get a feel for different home inspection companies. Smart, it's like shopping for a service. They want to see what other people offer. If you could advise somebody, the top 3 questions they should ask a home inspector when they're looking to hire one, to know they're hiring someone good, what would you say those are?
It's a really good question, because Utah is one of the handful of states that don't regulate home inspection at all. So Yoshi, if you wanted to print up a business card, you could start inspecting homes tomorrow.
Interesting.
And
I'd heard that.
Yeah. So the first thing that I think is going to be important is experience. There's no substitute for experience, and everyone has to start somewhere. I understand that, but
yeah.
Boy, I keep learning. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've inspected about 10,000 houses.
Wow.
And there's still new things to pick up. So just how many inspections has this inspector completed? That's a great question. If they've done a lot of inspections, then I'm going to be more comfortable with them.
Got it.
Another one is a certification. Since Utah doesn't regulate home inspection, I think it's important that this home inspector has gone through some kind of a stringent certification process. And there are some certifications that really aren't credible, but there are some that definitely are. And I feel like the most credible is the American Society of Home Inspectors.
Got it.
They have a website, ashi.org, ashi.org. But to be an ASHI certified inspector, first you can't even qualify until you've completed over 250 home inspections. And then there is a really difficult test you have to be able to pass, and then you have annual continuing education classes that you've got to keep up with to maintain your certification. And another reason for having someone who's affiliated with a certification or a national certifying program is that our inspection then has to meet or exceed the standards that they set. So I've seen where some home inspectors will have a 2-page document at the end of their inspection, and maybe even handwritten, where we are required to cover a whole list of things, and it's very specified what is included in a home inspection and what we have to do to accomplish that. And then thirdly, what would be my third? I would say word of mouth and reputation.
Got it.
Your realtor, sometimes people are a little bit hesitant to go with their realtor's recommendation because they're afraid the realtor is trying to push somebody who's just going to say the house is great.
Oh, sure.
But, those of us who have been in the business a while know that's just not, we don't have any reason to do that, because the worst thing in the world is when somebody is upset because they got into a house that they're not happy with.
Exactly.
So you don't want your client to get into a house and then find a whole bunch of surprises and be angry with you.
Absolutely.
And I likewise don't. So your realtor really is going to be looking out for you, and
great.
I would trust that.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, perfect. So it was probably 2 or 3 years ago when I first learned that here in the state of Utah, home inspectors weren't regulated, and anyone could just become a home inspector, like I could become one today. Bailey, you want to be a home inspector? Yes. Bailey's a home inspector as of today. His number is, if you guys need it. And it was surprising to hear that these people, that they didn't have to go like a real estate agent. We have to go through school, and so I started asking, me personally, when I started working with newer home inspectors, if they had any type of background. What do you find? And I found a lot of them had construction background. They knew their way in and out of homes, and these were inspectors that I started working with based off of friends that referred, and I realized that most of them had some type of contracting background. Is that what you're finding as well in this industry, or just literally?
You know what? There really is a big mix.
Okay.
There are those. It lends well to people who have a building background. I think the learning curve is quicker
Okay.
if you've been involved in construction. The home inspection is really so broad that someone who has been an electrician or a framer or a plumber, they've just got one piece of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, not that I compare myself to a doctor, but maybe a house doctor.
Sure.
You're a generalist, and so you have to have a broad understanding of everything.
Yes.
But really not a specialty in anything.
Got it.
So anyone can be trained to be a home inspector, but training is key.
Gotcha.
Win Home Inspection, which is what I'm affiliated with, we're a national company, and so we have mandatory training for any inspectors who come on board and company certification.
Got it.
Before then the national certifications even come into play. So yeah, you can be trained to become a home inspector. There is a long learning curve, and like I say, experience counts for everything.
Yeah.
I think back to when I first started, and I'm grateful people gave me a chance, but I've learned an awful lot since then.
Yeah, and I think that's with anything, right? Like, it's the doctor who's doing his very, very first surgery, right? Experience, you start to weigh, like, okay, is this guy experienced, not experienced? And we all have to start somewhere. But what was his training, right? Was his training YouTube? Or did he go to medical school, right? And so training's so key. I don't know if you know this, I don't think we've ever talked about this, but in a previous career for 20 years, I used to be a hairstylist to the stars in New York City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so Anderson Cooper was one of my clients. I would go to his house, I'd go to the CNN office, I'd cut his hair. But I remember the day that I did my very first haircut, right, in my whole entire life. And so, yeah, you got to start somewhere. But I was given a great opportunity in a great salon in New York City because my training that I had gone to, which was out in London, England, was considered one of the best hair schools in the world at the time. That training built credibility for me to get my start, and so I was, but it was still scary to do, your very first haircut.